Good morning, good people. How is it doing? Happy Wednesday. Good morning, Torvis. Good morning,
Hey, good
Kanisha.
morning.
How you guys
Morning.
doing, Sonya?
Good morning.
So just as we have people getting on in the spirit of Black History Month, Torvis, I wanted to check in with you and Kanisha and just see how has February and Black History Month been going for you?
Oh, it's been going great. It's a time of year where you read about different things. More people that need learning about in school all the time, the same people. So, I try to share other things about people. I was actually reading about a guy named Anonymous that actually he was key in the smallpox vaccination. So, every year you try to get new people that's done during the Black History Month that's done stuff to affect USA today.
Okay.
Yeah,
And Kanisha, what about you?
I'm doing some homeschooling, and I do see the deficit that my older son is with high school. So we started learning about Asada Shakur, and it's so
Okay.
amazing to see it through the eyes of children. My 10-year-old is like, "That's not fair," and I'm just like, "Yes, baby, that's right, that's right."
Favor ain't fair. Yeah, I think that's awesome. And Asada Shakur, if people don't realize, like Tupac's mom before the crash, you have not read it yet. Okay, it went out a little bit. Sign, what were you saying?
I said you went out, and I know we missed something good that you said.
Oh man, did y'all hear about Asada Shakur?
Can you say it again because we totally lost you?
Yep. The great thing about Asada, people don't realize Tupac's mom was a part of Asada's legal team when they were being falsely accused in New Jersey. Asada Shakur, she broke out of prison and found a safe haven in Cuba. And Fidel Castro, the U.S. wanted Asada so bad that they made trade agreements, but Fidel never agreed to trade agreements, and so she is still in asylum in Cuba. So shout out to Asada Shakur. Read that book if you ever get a chance.
Definitely. And just about 5 years ago, the U.S. tried it again. They
Yep.
tried it. They keep coming for her, and they keep blocking it.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
Dang.
So just to know about Asada, and Afeni Shakur being on the same legal team, and then seeing how great she was and what the crack epidemic did to that community was just a true testament of how just drugs in the Reagan era like decimated our community.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I also think it's a great tool to give to the children. Just get on the internet all the time. Have them Google letters from Asada. She's written letters from Cuba, and they are amazing. I wrote papers on it when I was in my master's program. It's just so inspiring, so much information. Even as Sonia talks about educational equity. She even talks about that. It's just it's she's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, John, you talking about the drug epidemic during the Reagan era. Sit down and watch 13th Amendment on Netflix. There's a lot of foundational, systemic, supremacy that each of you need to look at so you can see why we are where we are. I think it's very healing in a way too, because a lot of us have had family members who suffered through the crack epidemic, and a lot of families went through a lot of stuff. And I think sometimes, knowing how we even ended up there could be healing for some families, but also help them to take action.
There you go. One, to realize it was a disservice to our community, and two, to realize like you need to get back everything that the system took from you and your family.
Yeah. That's the criminal justice, the education system, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
We need to, and we need to be abreast of that. And we need to show our children that. I do want to talk about something. I want to know what Black history means to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And good morning, Victoria.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see who else on here. But what does Black history mean to everyone who's on here? Let's talk about that a little bit, because that's Black history. I think it's the thing that we don't talk about enough. I don't think February is enough.
Yeah, I'll say for me, I think even with my son's school and when my nieces and nephews were in high school, the most they told us about was, Martin Luther King, who was a great man, but maybe George Washington Carver when they talked about peanuts and Tuskegee. But again, like none of that was enough. And so what I've done, just going through college and just meeting some friends who have a lot of just insight, is just understanding where we came from. Like, what was our journey? Like, how did we arrive here on both a positive and a negative standpoint? And it just helped me, transition from MLK to Malcolm X to Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington, and just watch those philosophical debates, but also look at the greatness of our people, what we have created, the inventions, the procedures, the patents. So my journey, even when I finished school, has been great because I've been able to do that research, and to know your people is to be proud.
Hey, Torvis, what is Black History Month or Black History mean to you? I know this morning we talked a lot about legacy, what that means to us. So what does that mean to you?
Black history mean to me is finally we've seen our history. There's so many things that was created by Black people. Um, I think I was talking to somebody about it's a poem that a lady wrote, and it was the word without Black people. And from getting up out of the bed and on her way to her job, it was showing everything that Black people had made, and we had our hands on everything pretty much. Like I was saying earlier, I mean, the guy had something to do with. He was a slave. He was owned by a guy, but he had something to do with the smallpox vaccination. But the other guy got the credit for it. But he did say, "Okay, I got it from him." So it's so much more of our history that a lot of our kids don't know. And I actually think it should be Black history taught in school. We teach about American history, U.S. history. So I think we should have Black history in school versus waiting to get to college to know about your heritage and what you've done. So I mean, Black history is what I am. Black history. We Black and we have a history, and we need to know that.
Thank you for sharing. What about you, Kanisha?
Well, I like to point out that Black history is American history, and it's purposely omitted. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like just like we learn and the kids learn in school about, the beginning of how we came here to be in North America, we need to learn how, that there were Black people here before, that we have such a rich, we're richly ingrained in the history of America and what we've done and what we've provided. So Black history is very, very important to me. I don't know. I'm a little bit of a nerd, so I read a lot. But my homegirl, Audre Lorde, and I say she my homegirl because that's how much I read her. She always says that if you don't define yourself, you're gonna be crunched into other people's ideas of what you are, and that's what happened because we haven't had a true voice in our own history. People have defined who we are. So I think it's important going forward that we make a concerted effort to let the world know who we are as a people.
Yes, yes, yes. Um, for me, and it's just a matter of words. I don't agree that Black history is American history. American history is slavery. American history is oppression of Black people. Our history is the legacy that our forefathers have left. Like you said, the inventors, the great poets, Maya Angelou, Martin Luther King, all of the inventors, the people that I'm looking at on this video are part of Black history. And so I want to separate the two because that is not our history. We didn't ask for that. And we didn't ask for some of the stuff that we're getting today. Black history to me is about being relentless. You know, all the people that we talk about, the things that they've had to be relentless about, because we're in a system that is full of supremacy, white supremacy. And just to look at the people who have come before us, and even the people now, just Stacey Abrams, who is making history. Kamala Harris, who is our first African American vice president of the United States. Barack Obama, our first African American president of the United States, and won't be the last. That is our history. So I want to kind of just distinguish the two things between American history and Black history, because we've been tainted enough. And my God, let us have something. Let us have something to celebrate. So thank you guys for sharing that. And I think that this month is one of the most beautiful months, and a great time for us to sit down with our children and really, I think, expound. I think we should do it every day, talk about our history, but really give them a peek into the greatness, into the legacies that have been left. So last night, guys, speaking of Black history, we had parents who spoke during public comment during the school board meeting. So shout out to Cliff, shout out to Victoria, shout out to Bishop Jones, shout out to Nina Lockhart for submitting her speech, and Cliff read it on her behalf. And shout out to Dr. Battle for listening to parents. We thanked her for the implementation of the personalized learning plans and the student dashboard. Thanked her for listening to Nashville Propel parents and grandparents, but also let her know that the engagement does not stop now. It will continue. We will be watching, and we do want to work with the district on planning and implementation of these individualized learning plans or personalized learning plans. We know that this has to be a collaborative effort, and parents must be empowered just as much as teachers are empowered. So shout out to the parents who spoke out yesterday, and thank you again for building the movement with us. And so let's talk school. Let's talk about this week. School went back in person. Did any of your children go in person? Or do you know of any children that went in person? Yeah. I don't know of any yet either. So pre-K through 4 went in person on yesterday. So shout out to those children. I saw a lot of pictures. I think the Tennessean had some pictures and showed some of the children in classrooms. And I saw a video, and the children looked so excited. And I'm happy for them, and hoping that, they can stay in class, and they're excited. So any thoughts from you guys about school going back in person?
Yeah, I actually Trinity started soccer last night, and I actually met some parents at the soccer field. I think the parents, she had 2 kids with IEPs to go to Amplay, and she said that her kids went back. But she said her kids wasn't getting what they needed when they was at home, and they're not getting what they needed at school as well. So she said it really didn't make a difference to them going back if they wasn't go follow the IEP. So she was asking me, what does she need to do about that? So that's the only person I've heard even say that the child was going back. And her initial thing was even just riding the bus. I heard Christina Bugs on the radio show Sunday, and that's one of the questions that was answered about the bus. How you gonna get the kids back from school with the bus? And I was like, we really don't know because you really can't social distance on the school bus. So just the initial thought of getting them on the bus was never really worked out. I understand you can social distance more in the school, but if they're on the bus getting into the school, if something goes wrong, it's gonna go wrong from the beginning. So I see they have plans in place, but I still don't see really the detailed plans of how they're going to social distance with the kids from just even getting them to the schoolhouse.
I want to impress upon parents, like those are the questions you need to be asking. Like your decision, your choice needs to be informed. And so I want to impress upon all parents, get a piece of paper, write down questions that you may have. These are things that you have a right to know, and things that we've got to be intentional about asking, before we make a decision. I've seen a lot of parents, I want to go back to school, I want to go back to school, and then they say, well, we don't like this and we don't like that. And so, I understand both sides of it, but I do think that we need to ask more questions, and be clear on, what we want. The whole bus thing, that's something I think that should be asked before folks get on the bus, right? Like, what's going on the bus? And I'm sure they have, plans for cleaning the bus, but those details, parents, let's make sure we're asking that stuff. You have a right to know that. Be intentional about, asking questions. Can nobody shut you up because you asking questions? You have a right to ask questions. What about you, Kanisha?
This is emotional for me. I'm sorry, y'all,
Why is
because
that?
y'all know I've had my 10-year-old home with me, homeschooling him since September. He has verbally told me several times he wants to go back to school. He saw it on the news. He wants to go back to school. He wants to be re-enrolled so he can see his friends. And I have had the control of teaching him and making sure he got everything he needed. You know what I mean? And so I've gone about the process of contacting the school about his IEP and, and all that. And I'm afraid. I just don't want him to be left behind. And so I'm really emotional about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm concerned for his well-being, but I know that he has voiced what he wants. You know what I'm saying? And I never want to hold him back from what he wants. And he needs socialization. My older son, for him going back to school is definitely going to help him with his mental health and, just his overall performance in general. You know what I'm saying? But I'm afraid for my babies, So this for me really has me torn. It
Mhm.
really has me torn knowing what they want and me being afraid of, letting go of that control because I don't know whether or not what the follow through is going to be like.
Thank you. You know what? Thank you for being vulnerable, first of all. You guys know how I feel about vulnerability. Vulnerability is the key to success. When you say what you're afraid of, because then somebody can help you. So thank you. And I think you being vulnerable helps other parents. And so what I heard you say is that you've had total control over your child's education. And so you feel, and it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, you feel like he's making some progress also. Um, and then you're concerned about his lack of socializing with his friends. And so what we have to dig deep on is those are the things that we're afraid of, but what can we do about it? And so one of the things is, if parents are listening to me, I one of the things that I want to impress upon you, and I just said it, write down your question. Dig deep. Ask yourself why 5 times. Why am I afraid? Why am I afraid? Why am I? And answer it every time until you get to the 5th time. And by the time you get to the 5th time, you'll about get to why you're really bothered about something. So is it the bus safety? Is it the quality of education? Because some parents don't want to risk it. Like they weren't receiving quality in the first place. So why would I risk my child's life or my family's life if they weren't already getting it? So ask yourself why you are afraid. Then you can take some action. Okay? Because first of all, God didn't give you a spirit of fear. He gave you power. And he gave you sound mind. So our fear is built off of thoughts. And our thoughts lead us to actions. And so if we can change those thoughts and get those questions answered, we're going to take action. So ask yourself what you're afraid of. And thank you, Kanisha. Thank you for being vulnerable, because there's somebody that's listening out there that this conversation is really helping them. And then it'll allow them to actually solve the problem and make a informed. I have to use an because informed starts with a vowel. An informed decision. Right. And see, we got some. Jonathan Hall says that what did he say? He said inadequate plans on safety follow the money. Yes, sir. We got to keep following the money. There's a lot of money, $1.1 billion that came in ESSER 2.0. That's the second pot of money. And that money was geared towards learning loss. So the prior, the ESSER 1.0 was more towards, I believe, safety and getting supplies, PPE. So we should have adequate supplies. I think someone told me that Sue Kessler said she got plenty of stuff up there at Hunters Lane.
I saw on Facebook this week in a group, and some teachers was asking for supplies, and I think I sent it to Visha, and this was like $1,038 worth of supplies. It was a whole shopping list on Amazon of what teachers needed. I'm like, they got all this money. Why are teachers even out here soliciting for supplies or hand sanitizer and things like that with all this money is going on? And I did hear on the radio Sunday as well that they asked her about the $110 million that was missing. And she said it wasn't missing. It had been spent, but they had receipts. They didn't know they had to turn the receipts in because they're supposed to have to June 2022 to turn the receipts in. They said they had spent the money on PPEs and things like that and technology. But I had heard before that this money couldn't be spent on technology. So there's something to sit back and watch and see what happened on the 110 million that was missing.
Well, the SR 2.0 is not money that can be spent on the technology. So it depends on what money you're talking about. So the money that the state was trying to penalize the district with is money over a span of time, probably predating Dr. Battle up until now. So, you know, that the and I think what you're referencing is when the governor and the education commissioner were saying that they had to report this, the money. That money is money that includes ESSER 1.0, but it also is some money that it predates that. So I want to make sure that we're clear on you know, what they're talking about. Yes, Jonathan, we have to follow the money. We got to know where every penny went. Tracy Vaughn Dixon, in order to recoup that money that's missing, and which we don't know if it's missing, so I don't want to be accusatory. Unfortunately, they're probably going to start cutting back on teachers, probably starting with physical education, I would assume, and I really hate to do that. I don't know if money is missing. You know, I'm thinking there's a reporting issue. So I'm not sure if there is missing money or if it is a matter of reporting. And so that's bad in itself too, when we're not adequately reporting funds. And that can be penalized if you don't have a system set up, if you don't have the right people in place who are overseeing that money. You know, that could be an issue. But we have to look at something. Our school system is the regulator and operator. And sometimes that's not good, being the regulator and the operator. So that could be some of the problem too. Candace said, just came from physical therapy. What's happening? Candace, we're talking about Black History Month, what it meant to us. We're talking about kids returning to school, pre-K through 4 return. And then we started talking about the money. Let's see if we got any more comments here. Sasha says, good morning. Tracy Vaughn Dixon says, good point. Let's see. Andrea said some of her students went back. Kimberly says, good morning, guys. How y'all doing? Hope all is well. So, you know, the money thing is we got to follow that money. You know what? Have you guys like looked into the school choice open enrollment? Let's talk about that a little bit. Kanisha, you look like you got something to say about that. Let's talk about that.
Because you know my son has been pulled out, and I spoke with the district about him and school choice and his options, and I've interviewed 3 different principals in reference to what their views are on IEP, individual learning plans, and how they plan to implement. Because what I feel like with school choice is that it's not really a choice.
Because, let's talk about that. Wait a minute. Let's unpack that. Talk about that a little bit.
I don't think it's really a choice, because if you look at this list of schools that they have available, they're not all that. I mean, and the slots they have available is slim to none. Most of them are doing lotteries. So yeah, we can apply, but what's the chance of my child getting in if I didn't put my application in on day 1?
Got you. And so you have to apply by February the 12th, guys, for the open enrollment. You can go to www.mnps.org/school options. And you also can look at www.mnps.org/explore to explore your school options. But yeah, so you don't believe that you have that you can't make a choice because you don't have the right options in place.
I mean, because the idea of school choice is applying to these schools. Where are the informationals? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Where are the data, that goes along with these schools? I'm just picking a school based off of a list, location, or zip code. That does nothing for me. That doesn't give me information about the school. I needed to be able to make, as you say, an informed decision. Where's the information?
That's a good point. So do you think that it is purposely hidden from parents, Torvis?
Yes, it's purposely hidden from parents. I got a brochure or something in the mail. Elementary magnet school children fall in love with learning, and this whole little thing say choose joy, the power of choice. And they was talking about these STEM schools, and the choices were it looked like it was Wissett, Inglewood Elementary, Rosebank, and Warner. I'm like, well, they gave me choices of priority schools. 2 of them schools are priority schools. So you advertise the priority schools, talking about these STEM schools for real? No, we're not. That's not a choice for us.
Because you're not informed on the performance of the school. Gotcha.
Right. It looks, this brochure is nice and pretty. Got little colors on it, whatever. But it tells you nothing about these schools. It's just saying tour our STEM magnet schools and see for yourself. Once again, we're throwing words around. STEM, magnet. That means nothing if you're not doing the work. The schools are terrible.
One comment, let's see. I'm having to scroll through here, y'all. So Latrice Reed says, if Metro keep moving this way, all the kids will be in charter private schools. So Latrice, I want to educate you on something. Charters are public schools. We don't have any charter private schools here in Nashville. And a lot of people are misinformed about that. Charter schools are MNPS schools. So I want to make sure that you guys understand that the state of Tennessee does not do for-profit charter schools. But a lot of people run around who are anti-child. They put that misinformation into people's ears, which is incorrect. And we had to, back in January 2020, a group of parents from across this country went and we met with Joe Biden, and we had to straighten him on that about his education policies, because he let the teachers unions get him all mixed up. And so, we had to help him to understand that where we live at, the schools on every corner from elementary to middle to high school are low performing schools. And without the ability to make a choice, and without options, and without access, our children were doomed. And so we had to help him understand that his language that he was using as a weapon about charter schools was incorrect. And so he studied. He said, yeah, I'm okay with nonprofit charter schools. I said, okay, well, you need to change what you're saying, because you're going all around the country talking about, you don't want charter schools. And we're like, those are public schools in our state and in our city. So what are you saying? You don't want no schools? You don't want public schools? So we have to make sure that people understand what they're saying and they're well educated around what they're saying. We're not pro-charter, we're not pro-private, we're not pro-tradition. As a matter of fact, my children stepped in every last type of them schools. And so it don't matter to me, anybody can get it. But I need to do what's best for my child. Right now, I don't have an option for high school. I texted my ex-husband yesterday and said, what are we going to do about high school? Because the only schools that my child in my area are not a fit. Not even the charter school. Anybody can get it. Don't matter to me. That's my little vision.
And Sonia, that's why I was also talking about choice, because as we talk about charter and you talk about school choice, you have to talk about transportation.
Access.
Access. Because if you decide to put your child in a school outside of, where your buses run, you got to take them to and from school. And even some of these charter schools, even though they do provide transportation, when my son was going to rocket ship as an elementary school student, he was getting on the bus at 6:30 in the morning and didn't get to school to 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. We have an access problem. We have an access
problem.
Yeah, we do. We totally have an access problem here. Children should not be stuck in a school because of where they live at or because of the color of their skin. And that's why we do the work that we do. We represent parents and grandparents from our most struggling communities who are zoned or attend the lowest performing schools in the state of Tennessee. We are the people who we represent. We live with the people that we represent. And yes, we have an access issue, big time. Torvis?
Yes. Like you said, it's an access issue. And I was sitting there thinking about when they shut down schools, the priority schools, and you look at the neighborhoods those are in, that's really going to put a burden on the parents. Because if we looking at over in the area 37208, they shut down those schools over in that area. Where are these kids going to go? They're not going to bus them. Now parents are still in problem with access and trying to get the kid all the way across school in traffic and things like that. So it's a lot of issues dealing with the access to being able to get where you need to get to.
Yeah, they are providing transportation because they have to. But the problem is, Torvis, is that even before school started, when those 4 schools were consolidated, you remember we had parents that didn't even know that their school was consolidated. And I wonder, did any of those children get lost in this whole COVID thing? You know, I just wonder. Because I remember the day that we started calling parents and asking them that they know. And I distinctively remember a grandmother that had a child zoned to Buena Vista. And she said, no, I didn't even know. And it just kind of broke my heart. So access to information, access to transportation, access to the tools needed. We have a huge access problem. What should we do about it, guys? What should we do about the access? Kimberly says they will make the school look good, then you get there and find out the real situation. Yes, you are right. And so that's why we are educating parents. We educate parents through our fellowship about the landscape of education, about accountability, and different topics that parents care about the most. And we are giving parents the tools and the knowledge that they need. I always say it's the secret sauce that none of us knew about. And so that is part of our mission as we develop parents into powerful parent leaders. We make sure that our parents are informed or have access to this information so that they can make informed decisions about their children's education, so they can be in the driver's seat. Nina Locker says, Governor Lee is trying to appeal the voucher program, school program. What are your thoughts about having vouchers, and how will these impact funds and access? So for the moment, Nashville Propel does not endorse school voucher programs because we don't have enough information about it. I know that there were some things that were in litigation. That's not something that we are discussing with our parents, because if we don't know, then we're not going to be discussing things with our parents that we don't know. And so I haven't heard anything else about school voucher programs, but I always say with parents, like, you need to be able to make an informed choice. So if that's what you choose, then make sure you understand the choice that you're making. Because, if I'm going to make a choice, I don't want anybody to keep me from making a decision that's best for, my child. So, my only statement about that is a situation in which we don't have enough information to even discuss with our families. It's been in litigation. It's been all over the place. It started in one place and changed so much. Baby, I just said we're going to leave that shit alone till they get finished figuring out what they're going to do, because that was too much.
I wanted to say, when we talk about getting information from these schools, that we need to be talking to students, because you get one perspective from the teachers and the administrators, you get another perspective from the students. I happened to be on Google just like looking at reviews, and I saw a review written by a literal student. This is like a 13, 14-year-old kid, and I read that review. And it really made me think. You could tell it was given by a kid. Mm-hmm. So as much as we want to empower our parents, maybe we need to empower our parents to ask their students, how is it going? How do you feel here? Because that's how those are who we want. These are the people who we want to serve. We need to know how they feel there. Somebody said something about how are our kids being treated in private schools. We need to ask them.
Come on now, because some of them ain't being treated right. Come on, preach now. See, that's why anybody can get it. Any school can get it. Y'all better start asking your children. You better start talking, and we got to start listening to them. That's why we want personalized learning plan. How can you write the vision and make it plain if you don't have no plan? That's Bible. That's life. That's street. That's business. If you don't have no plan, you're going to fail.
And and that's crazy, because the reason why I started homeschooling my son is he walked in the room away from that computer doing virtual learning. And he looked at me and he said, Mommy, I can't do this no more. He was like, I was like, what? He said, I can't do this. He was like, this is not working. He's 10. When a 10-year-old walk into you and just tell you they can't do nothing no more, you have to listen.
You have to. We don't, I was listening. I know we were warming up and getting the sound check, and I was listening to Music Soul Child. I was listening because the song came to mind this morning when we were talking about legacy and love. And I was thinking about the word love. And, I've learned about agape love and all this types of love. And Music Soul Child says, teach me how to love. Show me the way to surrender my heart. And the word that stuck with me was teach me. Teach me. Teach me how to love. And I was thinking about that. And I was thinking about our children. Are we teaching our children? Are we teaching each other how to? Do we really know? That's being informed. We don't come out of the womb knowing how to love. Children don't know how to love us when they come out the womb. You got to be taught how to love. You got to be taught how to read. We have the right to be loved, and we have a right to know how to read. And so I was just thinking about that, the intentionality, listening to children. What is going on with them? What are they thinking? What do they want? What keeps them awake at night? We need to be asking that. And so we're going to end this by saying, everybody under the sound of our voice today, I need you to make a commitment. This is a call to action. I need you to sit down with each of your children individually. Take 15 minutes without you saying a mumbling word or asking a stumbling question, and listen to them. They will tell you so much. And I'm talking about hearing them and listening to them. There's two different things. Yeah, I hear you. I need you to listen to them. 15 minutes, shut your damn mouth. Excuse my language. We ain't listening. We're not listening to these kids. And don't you say a mumbling word or a stumbling question. And you listen to them and do it individually, because they individually have a story. And do this. Start off just once a week. You will learn so much. You will see so much pain. We will be better parents and better people if we listen. A lot of children died last week. My heart is heavy. My heart is heavy. A lot of these children are dying in these streets. Are we listening? Are we truly listening? So go hug your children. Let them know you fight for them every day. Not physical fighting, but explain to them what you mean by fight for them. Let's make some better Black history in the Black family. Nashville Propel is not just about education. It's about relationship too. Build a relationship with your children. So when stuff is going on in school, they come back and tell you. But you got to give them the space. You got to give them the space to say what's keeping them back, what's holding them back. Some of your children may just be embarrassed or ashamed because they can't do something. But we're hollering at them. Why you make that D? Did you turn in your work? Listen, people. Now, end right there. I'll let Kanisha and Torvis have the closing thoughts.
I was just gonna say the circle of trust is just a great place to start. You know, we have a circle of trust in our house. My son knows they are required to spend 2 hours in the living room every day. And within that 2 hours, they get one parent each for 15 to 20 minutes, and you talk about whatever you want to talk about. We call it our circle of trust. And you know, Sonya just talked about us losing so many kids. My son lost a couple of friends, and it's been an uphill battle getting him to, express his feelings. And learning to shut up and listen and not solve the problem has been something I have had to learn, because I've been I want to fix it, but I've had to learn that I have to just shut up. I gotta shut up and let him say what he's gonna say, because see, his feelings are different than mine.
Yes.
And hearing his feelings and how mature, and just not even just how mature, how much of a baby he is still with the way he sees this has given me a new perspective on how I approach him. So that, just that time to listen is important. Even the little ones, my 10-year-old, he'll come and tell you the things that he has said to me have been so profound. And I'm just like, he has autism. He's 10 years old. I didn't think that he knew as much as he did. I didn't give him credit.
Baby, let me tell you.
I didn't give him as much credit as I should have.
Baby,
and I was hurt for me.
Y'all on this autism thing. Parents with children with autism, I'm gonna check y'all.
Mm-hmm.
It's billion-dollar companies looking for them.
Yes.
But the system has made you feel shame. It's
exactly
billion-dollar companies looking for your children.
60 Minutes was just talking about that. They had a whole documentary on kids at Vanderbilt, a program at Vanderbilt. They were looking for autistic kids because they was putting things together and they can see something put together just like it. And it wasn't, I think Anderson Cooper was trying to do it. He kept having to look and see what it was. But this child put it together in 10 seconds and went on. So they are hiring these kids like that. They are really seeing things a different way, and businesses are using those kids because they can see things a different way.
And the things that he can do, and the things they can do. Like my son put together a 27-story Minecraft building in an hour.
Yes.
And then he came and showed it to me. And I was like, caught off guard. Because I'm like, he did that. Nobody told him how to do that. But I haven't been giving him enough credit, because I've been caught up in this label and fighting for certain things that I wasn't seeing him. And him talking to me, I'm seeing him. So I had to take ownership for that. But I also am just so amazed by what he can do. So listen to the babies.
I love that. Joyce says she loves that circle of trust. Maybe Kenesha, we can build like a little one-pager around that. The other night, me and my kids played Uno. We played Uno right here at the kitchen table, and we just laughed. My youngest son, he was cheating, and then my oldest daughter, I said, I don't want to play none of that millennial Uno. I want to play 1975 Uno. She talking about draw 16. Hell, I don't want to draw 16. We playing old fashioned. So we had a good time. But the circle of trust, I love that. And Joyce says she loves it too. And maybe we build something around it. See, we're going to take care of our community. We're going to take care of our community. Torvis, any last words?
Yes, like I said, listen to the kids. My child, she does things and says stuff that we have no idea. Even when she was a baby, she was singing songs that, how do you love this song? I do the whole song. Do that I do. I'm like, we looking at each other like we crazy. Like, wait a minute, where she come from? She says and does things. She pays attention to what you're doing. I was gonna be smart one day playing basketball. She beat me like 103 to like 50 something. I said, I don't even know how to play the basketball game no more, the Xbox or none of that stuff. So I mean, listen to your kids. I mean, they tell you a lot of different things. I listen to other people's kids. When the kid is talking, I just listen to them. And just listen to them because I like to talk, and then these kids like to talk more than I do. So just listen to your kids, and they'll tell you a lot that's going on. Even with the situation we talking about bullying in school, Sometimes it's the teachers bullying on the kids. But you got to listen to their child to understand it. Back in the day, when the teacher said your child does something, you done it. Your mom's coming to school. But now, when they say something, you got to pay attention to it. I've been to school many times and found out it wasn't the way they said it was. So just listen to your babies. That's all I'm gonna tell you. That's all we can do.
Kimberly said that she sees her son doing something with computers. See, I see the genius in all children, and I call it a gift. I call it a gift. Children are our living or our life's vision. And we got to put some respect on that.
Amen.
We got to put some respect on that. Everybody. We should be building little leaders. And instead, as a community, you know, we have not put together a plan for our children to be in this innate sense of survival. When they don't learn how to read, they're going to break in your car. I promise you. They're going to break in your car. So we have a system that has failed them, that has not even taught them how to read for generations. And then a system that will incarcerate them in the drop of a hat. So parents, just to set you up for what's coming, we have the right to read, and we're going to teach you what it means to know how to read. We're going to teach you about what does literacy really mean. So over the next few weeks, we will be developing your power, and we'll be showing you how to take action. But we have to do this together. We have to get down to the root of the problem. Children show up to kindergarten just as happy as they want to be. Them long socks. I'm sure yesterday, them children had on new socks and uniforms and stuff, and they were excited about being in school. But something happens, and we got to figure that out. What happens to our children? And we got to listen, and we got to show up, and we got to listen, and we have to demand that we be heard. So, in closing, don't forget to visit our website. We'll see our cohort 7 parents on Thursday. If you are a parent and you're listening and you want to know more about Nashville Propel, just type in the comments. I would like to know more, and one of our organizers will reach out to you, and we will listen to you and see what you care the most about. Don't forget to like our Facebook page, our Twitter page, our Instagram. If you have a child, Tennessee Can is doing a Black History program where they are taking the picture of a child. So Kanisha, listen to this, and Torvis, your child can send a quote about Black history, what it means to them. So if you are interested in submitting your child's quote in your picture and having them seen on the state level, please drop in the comment that you're interested in the Black History program. If you have a child and you're interested in a pod, which will include students who are virtual and in person, if you're interested, 3 days a week here in East Nashville, please let us know that you are interested in the I Support pod, where we can get some additional help for your child. We're partnering with For the Heart, Corey Harris, and Nashville Propel, putting together this additional supports for our children. So we're on the move. We are activated. We thank you guys. We will see you next Wednesday at 11 o'clock right here on our Facebook page, where we will discuss the issues that parents and grandparents care the most about. Love you guys, and talk to you later.
Is she out? I think you know. Are you muted?
Yeah, she out.
Oh,
You go.
she out.
Yeah,
Oh,
John, I heard. We just cut out.
oh,
I'll
okay.
talk to you later.
All right.
Yeah.